Good evening, and welcome to the League of Women Voters Candidate Forum for the April 1st general election candidates for Wood County Board and the Town of Grand Rapids Board Supervisors. We're pleased to bring you this forum live on River City's Community Access Television. On the behalf of the League of Women Voters, thank you to the candidates tonight for your willingness to run for office and for appearing here. The League of Women Voters is nonpartisan and does not support or propose any candidate or political party. Tonight's forum will start with the candidates competing for Wood County Board. And our candidates here tonight are from District 15, Bill Clendenning and Thomas Heiser, District 17, Bruce Dimmick, and District 19, Bill Lightman and Ruth Moody. Earlier, each set of candidates drew for order of speaking, and each candidate will have 2 minutes for opening and closing remarks and responses to our questions. Our questions are screened for clarity, directness, and to avoid duplication, and only questions that address the office and not particular personalities will be used. Our phone-in line for our studio audience at home is 421-8248, and we welcome those questions. We will now start with opening statements with District 19 candidate Ruth Moody.
Thank you. I'm going to tell you about me that was in the paper again, because there's too many things to try and pick them all out of the air. I have served for the last 7 years on the Wood County Board. I was appointed to that position in 2007 and successfully won the election in 2008, 10, and 12. As a county board member, I've served in many positions. Right now, I am the county's chaplain. I serve on the Conservation, Education, Economic Development Committee, which is part of the University Extension Program. I am a member of the Golden Sands Rural Conservation and Development Committee, which includes members from 9 counties. We work with agriculture, forestry, wildlife of Golden Sands area. I am a member of the Personnel and Finance Committee, and I am also a member of the Wood County Library Board. All of these positions offer me a unique insight into what District 19 needs, and also what the county board has to offer. I feel that I am well qualified to continue on these committees and in these capacities. And over the years, I have not only served the people of Wood County District 19, but I am also active in the surrounding community. I am a master gardener volunteer, and if you've been on a garden walk, you may have visited my gardens. I'm a member of the Encourage Nakusa Area Funds Committee, which funds are granted for community programs. And for 65 years, I have been an active member of the Church by the Bridge, the United Church of Christ. I feel all these reasons make me qualified to do what I am running for.
Thank you. District number 15, Bill Clendenning.
Hi, my name is Bill Clendenning. I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for giving the candidates the opportunity to discuss the various issues. I am the incumbent candidate from Wood County District 15. I have 3 children, a daughter and 2 sons, and 6 grandchildren. I'm a Vietnam veteran and was honorably discharged after serving 6 years in the United States Navy. I have belonged to the American Legion for 28 years. I got hired at Consolidated Papers in 1966 and retired in Wood County after 38 years in the paper industry. During that time, I served 8 years as union president of Local 187. I have lived in Wood County for 26 years. I was appointed to the Wood County Board in May of 2002 and have always represented a district in the town of Grand Rapids. Wood County government has experienced many changes in recent years. One of the biggest changes was the downsizing of the county board from 38 members down to 19. I'm very proud to have been selected by the county board chair to be chairman of the Judicial and Legislative Committee. I initiated a policy of assigning each supervisor on the Judicial and Legislative Committee to be a liaison contact for the departments that our committee oversees. This procedure has greatly improved the communication and efficiency of the departments. I attend other Wood County committee meetings and stay informed on all issues that may come before the county board. Thank you.
Thank you. District 15 candidate Thomas Heiser.
Thank you. I would like to thank the League of Women Voters, River Cities Community Access for sponsoring and broadcasting this forum and inviting me to participate. I was born here in Wisconsin Rapids at Riverview Hospital and have been a homeowner and thus a taxpayer of Grand Rapids for over 36 years. My wife and I have been married over 41 years. We have 3 children, 6 granddaughters, and yes, 1 great-granddaughter. I have served you, the residents of Grand Rapids, as a police officer and police chief for over 27 years and a member of the Grand Rapids Fire Department for over 30 years, still currently serving you as a firefighter and the secretary. During these endeavors, I've had to deal with citizens' concerns, complaints, and issues, which help me be able to work all types of issues that will arise. I'm on the Grand Rapids Town Board Zoning Board of Appeals. My education includes 2 associate degrees from Mid-State Technical College, police science, and supervisory management. I enlisted in the U.S. Army Security Agency, which is a military intelligence unit, where we had to go through an extensive background investigation by the FBI. I held a top-secret crypto security clearance. I served our country overseas in Germany, Vietnam, Thailand, performing my assignments in supervisory positions. I'm a life member of both Wisconsin Rapids VFW Post 2534 and Vietnam Veterans of America Wisconsin Rapids Chapter 101 and on their board of directors. I'm currently the chairman of the Wood County Veteran Service Commission that works to assist veterans and their families in Wood County. I will represent you, the citizens of Town of Grand Rapids, and it's your needs that I will focus on. I do not have a single issue agenda, but will look at issues with an open mind. I have no intention to get involved in issues and questions that are not related to matters that are, could, or will be addressed by the Wood County Board of Supervisors. I can bring to the Wood County Board a positive mental attitude, looking for and focusing on the positives and not always trying to find the negatives first. I look for reasons to do something and not excuses to do nothing. We must be proactive and not reactive. Thank you.
Thank you. District 17 candidate Bruce Dimmick.
First of all, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for providing us with the opportunity to introduce ourselves and our issues to the community. My name is Bruce E. Dimmick. I'm a resident of Saratoga, running for the Wood County Board of Supervisors from District 17. I'm a U.S. Army veteran and spent most of my career after graduate school working in the technical end of the paper industry. I retired from Domtar when the port mill unfortunately closed. I've been working diligently with the Protect Wood County organization to keep the proposed Wasaki CAFO out of Saratoga. It has been and will continue to be a long fight. The current county board, including the incumbent from District 17, has not taken a stand against this CAFO. The county board has taken a stand against the proliferation of high-capacity wells, however, and Mr. Clending led that charge. Thank you, Bill. The problem with the proposed CAFO is that it will significantly degrade the aquifer that we all depend on and pollute the air as well. Property values in Saratoga have already plummeted just due to the threat of this CAFO. These problems will spread beyond the boundaries of Saratoga to the communities of Grand Rapids, Port Edwards, Rome, Nakusa, and even Wisconsin Rapids if this thing isn't stopped. Another key issue is local control. Local control is under attack in the state legislature. Everything from Senator Tiffany's frac sand bill, SB 632, to Senator Neil Kedsey's high-capacity well bill, SB 302, has a common thread of taking decision making away from local leaders. I think that all decisions that can be made at the local level should be made at the local level. I would like to conclude by saying that I think the primary job of a county board supervisor is to represent his or her constituents. It is important to go to town and village meetings to both inform local governments about what is going on at the county level and to find out what the local issues are which warrant attention at the county level. Therefore, if elected, I will attend as many town and village meetings as I can in Saratoga, Grand Rapids, Village of Port Edwards. Thank you.
Thank you. District 19 candidate Bill Lightman.
Good evening, everyone. and a big thank you to the League for hosting this forum. My name is Bill Lightnum. I'm a candidate for the Wood County Board from the southernmost township of the county, that being Saratoga, District 19. Just a little bit about me. I grew up in a small farming community in Clark County. Came to this area 43 years ago to teach civics to 7th graders in Nakusa. I semi-retired in 2006, and I never thought that I'd run for any political office. That was until June of 2012 when a postcard came in the mail and said, we're going to build a 6,000 cow factory farm, clear-cut 8,000 acres in your town, and we intend to be very good neighbors. Well, that got me a little riled. When Nancy and I came here in 1971, I wondered why I didn't see dairy farms south of Rapids. As you all know, it was the sand, that you couldn't grow anything without constant watering or a massive infusion of fertilizer. Clearly, water is life here. When the CAFO issue came up, an area realtor and I went across the river to Armenia to the factory farm there. We went door to door asking for water samples, and what we found horrified us. The experts say that nitrates in the drinking water is dangerous at 10 parts per million, and our samples all came back at 35 parts per million, and that occurred in 2 short years. High-capacity wells, overpumping the aquifer, lakes diminished, shallow wells going dry, and then there's the issue of water quality. And they said they were going to be good neighbors. Then there's the liquid manure lagoon. Did you know that they're not just for farm manure, but that for a tipping fee, renderings from slaughterhouses and mink ranches, cattle truck wash can all be dumped there and ultimately spread on the land untreated. And they said they were going to be good neighbors. I was so proud of the Saratoga Town Board when they stood up to Big Ag. In my closing remarks, I'll look to future issues, and I won't say another word about factory farms unless somebody asks me.
Thank you. Our first question will start with District 15 candidate Bill Clendenning. How can a member of the county board influence legislation at the state level?
Well, I go down with Lance Brimmel every once in a while down there to what's they call the legislative exchange, and we do influence. Most of our doings at the county board is with legislation. We get mandates from the state, and my committee, which is the legislative committee, is what we do is introduce resolutions to the county board to pass on to other counties. And in so doing so, then they're passed on to our legislators. I attend the annual conference, excuse me. I attend the annual conference every year for the towns, and I go to the meeting in which the resolutions are passed at the county level for the Wisconsin Towns Association. So they're very important resolutions and being sent to our legislators.
Thank you. Thomas Heiser.
Influence in Madison deals with your legislator, your representative, staying in good, close contact with them, staying abreast of what is going on as far as legislation, resolutions, not only in this county, but adjoining counties, because there may be something that they have picked up on that we should be advised of. I currently receive emails from both our representatives, Senator Lassa and Representative Krug, and I also email back and forth with them and have made phone calls on different ideas that could be a possibility for state legislation. But staying in contact with your legislators as well as local legislators is of the key importance. Thank you.
Bruce Dimick.
One of the key things, and it's been hinted at already, is to work closely with our local representatives at the state level. I've been on Representative Krug's Groundwater Advisory Committee for the last 6, 7, 8 months, and we're working on high-capacity well legislation. But equally important is to go down to Madison, and I'm quite frankly not thrilled doing that, but go down to Madison and testify on bills that are before the legislature that may impact our area here. And it's quite gratifying to see when you do that sort of thing, even though you go as a private citizen or as a representative, as a county board member, that they do listen to you, and it's great. And one of the things that I think is a good example of how democracy works is with the frac sand bill that came up recently. It was really the Towns Association, with some backing from the County Association here in Wisconsin, where they unanimously said, we don't like this bill, and basically it got pulled from the legislative agenda. So democracy works. You got to be pretty proactive. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll repeat the question. How can a member of the county board influence legislation at the state level? District 19, Bill Lightman.
Not saying anything real different than the other gentlemen have said, but I think access to your legislative compatriots is probably the most important thing. I didn't realize it until I got into this, but I went to a couple of conferences with Mr. Clendenning and Mr. Demick. One meeting with the Central Wisconsin Grassroots Alliance, there we had a chance to meet with both Mayor Vruwink and Dana Duncan. Another meeting at the Central Wisconsin Airport, a consortium of 5 counties, and there were a couple of state legislators there. So it's a matter of listening to them, talking to them, and then probably more importantly, the rubbing of elbows out in the hallways, the chance to just talk informally. I think another benefit of meeting with these people is the heads up that you get. Know something's coming down the line before people in the area probably do. What I've seen come of this is resolutions have been passed about high-capacity wells. I believe that started in Portage County, went to Wood and Adams, and then Waushara counties. So this would be instances of lawmakers at whatever level working together then. I guess that's about it.
Thank you. District 19, Ruth Moody.
Well, I don't have a lot of spare time here, so I've been in contact with our legislators on the phone. I talked to Amy and Julia and Mr. Klug on the phone. So I do keep up on what's going on, and what I want to say is that I also go to the towns meetings once a month. We are hosting those in different township every month, a different one. And always our representatives are always there, and you can stop and visit with them while we're there. So I do that, everyone I get to. And it's very nice. I've been to Madison Governor's Conference and a lot of different things. So I do agree that it's good to talk to them.
Thank you. Our second question will be posed to Thomas Heiser first. What should be the vision of the county board? What projects are needed? What projects could add to making us a really great county?
Some of the projects I know that are in the works, there's the study on space needs they are looking at for the courthouse. They're looking at the north end office space that's currently in the city hall in Marshfield. Something else that's being looked at. We've got to make our area in the county board a positive source for people that are looking at coming in here, whether it be business or individuals. I think when they come back with the $60,000 space needs study, that's something that should be looked at and should be discussed with the department heads. As far as the north end, I understand they are looking at using the Norwood facility for combining these services up in that area, and that'll be a major cost savings because I know there are some departments that pay high rent every month. And we got to keep our taxes at a level that they currently are. I've done some research on other tax levels, and we are a little bit below what other counties are, which is a fantastic positive for this area. We have to be able to minimize the taxes, maximize the service with what we currently have. Thank you.
Thank you. Bruce Dimick.
I think one of the things that we can do on a county level, of course, you have to work with all the municipalities. It's not like the county board runs the show. But we need to make this county, and it already is to some extent, very conducive to attracting new business and attracting young people. As we all know, this last winter would suggest that we don't have necessarily the greatest climate in the world here, but we do need to enhance our recreational facilities and our do things like continue the work on bike paths and so on, so that young people are attracted to both grow up here and stay here. So places like Renaissance, or companies like Renaissance, need a supply of talented, versed people to engage in the high-tech work that they do. So education is a key issue. We need to make sure that we can do everything we can to keep Mid-State Technical College vibrant and focused on possible and probable expanding industries in the area. So I think this county, basically because it is an awfully nice place to live, has a potential to do these things, but we've got to stay focused on them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bill Lightman.
Well, as far as a vision for the county goes, I don't know if I'm going to add too much more than what the other people have said here. I do believe, though, that 9 of the county departments said there's an express need for more space where they're at. And so the architectural firm that we listened to, I think it was in February, at the county board, said that anywhere between $56 and $63 million might be spent on projects to, plan for those needs. All the way from buildings being redesigned to new buildings being built. The most basic needs being in the health and human services field and the sheriff's department. I also think there's needs for the aged in our community. Nakusa built that wonderful community center, and I'm just wondering about some of the more outlying areas, the Arpins, the Vespers, if there might not be need for community centers there also. And then back to the CAFO issue, which I promised not to talk about. Bruce mentioned that we certainly want our young people staying here. I think we want everybody staying here, not people leaving for whatever reason, environmental or whatever. Thank you.
Thank you. Ruth Moody.
Question again?
Yes, certainly. What should be the vision of the county board, and what projects are needed? What projects could add to making us a really great county?
Well, there are all kinds of projects sitting there now at the Community Foundation, and we're asking everyone who has one to please turn it in. Bike paths would be a wonderful idea. We have one on the west side where the railroad used to be. We have been hoping to have some money probably in Saratoga to come up with some way to connect with the bike paths here in Rapids. And of course the big thing is that we get our ideas across to our new zoning person, who has been just recently appointed and won an award, and we need to be thinking about what we can do for each of our own municipalities to put them together.
Thank you. Bill Clendenning.
Yes, back to the space needs and future for Wood County. Yes, we have hired a firm out of Milwaukee. They're going to be with us for quite a while. And what we do need is, looking at rather, is a justice center and where to be located there. We're looking at a fourth judge coming into the county. That probably will be in year 2016, 2017 in there. But this project is going to be a 25-year, 30-year plan, really, is what it is for the $63 million project. It isn't all been worked out yet. The health department and that's staying over to the hospital for now. We just signed a lease that is renewable every 5 years, which is a good thing. One of the projects is that the old annex is still there, costing us $30,000 a year just to have it standing there empty. And that's something that's probably going to be taken care of, either sold, tore down, or remodeled. So there is a lot of activity going on in it. Edgewater Haven, nursing home that we have is just being remodeled, and I'm glad we got to keep it. It was a vote on the county board as to whether to tear down the front of it and start remodeling, and we did choose to remodel it, and I'm glad of that. That's all I have.
Thank you. Our third question this evening will be posed to candidate Bruce Dimmick of the 17th District, who is running against Gary Allwarden, who was unable to be here tonight, and I didn't mention that earlier. Question: what is your position on the current redistricting process in Wisconsin?
I'm quite disappointed in the way it's been handled, and I say that from a nonpartisan point of view. It was done behind closed doors in this last go. And what I would really like to see, and some states have adopted this approach, and that is you need to have a group do redistricting that really doesn't have a political axe to grind, whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans. Now, what is happening across the United States, and it really happened here in Wisconsin big time, is when you have partisan-controlled redistricting, basically you define all these safe areas, okay, and they may be Democrat, they may be Republican, but what that means is that the incumbent or the person representing that particular congressional district, whether it's either on the state or federal level, really doesn't have to be responsive to the constituents, because they've got like 80% of them are on their side already. And so if you have a more random distribution based on a more fair and equitable things, you have a lot of places where you got 49% versus 51, and there the people running for office have to be sensitive to what the constituents want, and democracy is much better served with that approach. Thank you.
Thank you. District 19, Bill Lightman.
The way I understand it, historically, redistricting was always done after each 10-year census. And for a while, that seemed to work really good when we were a small country. But just to show you how ridiculous this has got over the last few years, the district line between District 19 and District 17, which Bruce is running for, is Church Avenue for quite some distance. Then on the east side, it jumps up the town line, and on the west side up to Ranger. So how anybody can understand where those districts' lines are, especially as they're changing every 10 years, I have no idea. I think a much better idea would be to use established boundaries, possibly county lines. And in my way of thinking, does it really matter if a representative represents 410,000 people or 395,000 if people can understand where their district lines are? Purely partisan, I don't think there's any need for it. I think there needs to be some major reworking done here. Thank you.
Thank you. Our question is, what is your position on the current redistricting process in Wisconsin? Ruth Moody.
Well, I think it's horrible. For instance, the city of Marshfield's in 3 different districts. They have 6 different people representing them. So how do you get around to get to everybody, and who really knows? Well, we had time last year after the election. We were then a purple state, and we could have done what a lot of states have done. For instance, Iowa has done away with the gerrymandering. They have hired a whole team of people, past lawyers, police officers, other political people, and they have taken the gerrymandering away from the parties. And this organization has just so many days from the time we were a purple state until the new people were elected. And it works very well because they cannot do that anymore in Iowa.
Thank you. Bill Clendenning.
Yes, thank you. Yes, gerrymandering in Marshfield is terrible. We've had a resolution by the legislative committee come in, and we sent it to the county board, and it was passed unanimously to do something about redistricting, and one other county has also supported it, which is Dane County. Out of the 72 counties, we're the only 2 counties that have a resolution so far. But I got to say one thing. I'm opposed to the way it's done now because it's done so partisan to achieve partisan. I had a legislator tell me this, and I thought about it. He says, I would like to come from a county or be on a county board in which I had maybe 3 senators representing my county and maybe 5 or 6 assemblymen. He said, I think we could get what we wanted. And he says that's kind of the way why Milwaukee says that there's the statute for Milwaukee. Well, he says in Milwaukee they have a lot of legislators, and that's why they get things done, Milwaukee County. So I still don't think it's a good thing, but it put a different light on things. Thank you.
Thank you. Thomas Heiser.
I think this redistricting, the way it's being done right now, is wrong. It should be done by a nonpartisan group or an organization. The district that Bill and I are working for here, in one subdivision, there's a couple of houses on one street that are part of our district. If there's an annexation, it's a possibility that those people will now go into the city. They will not be in our district anymore. That's wrong. It's just wrong. At one time, Marlon Schneider had Rapids, Port, and Nakusa. They did redistricting. He lost Nakusa. This is an area that needs to stay together. We had Sean Duffy out of Wausau as our representative. Up the road, understands central Wisconsin. I don't think Ron Kind really understands central Wisconsin as well as somebody that would be from Wausau. This has got to be taken out of the hands of the politicians, put back into the hands of a nonpartisan group, and let's put some logic, keep neighborhoods together. They have the concerns that are similar to each other. Thank you.
Thank you. Our 4th question this evening we will start with Bill Lightman. How do you feel about spray irrigation of untreated manure in Wood County? Currently, Wood County only has manure storage ordinances on record. Would you support expanding this ordinance?
Certainly not expanding it. Spray irrigation is a really bad idea. Whether you use the cannons or whether it's chiseled into the ground or in any way spread onto the land, I'd be worried about the mist factor with any strong winds. You'd have to have some sort of legislation that said when the winds are at a certain volume, you couldn't do that. The drift, I've talked to people in Armenia who have been across from the CAFO there, and the drift into somebody's yard, having to close windows in the summertime. I think spray irrigation is a really bad idea. And I guess that's all I have to say about that.
Thank you. Ruth Moody.
Well, I have a lot of things to say about that. And that is that there are 3 farms in Armenia, from Wood County to Necedah, And I can't tell you what they all do, but most of them, and the one in particular, does not put manure in the spray. He did that once, and he said that that was the only time he did it, and he would never do it again. So there are other ways to do this, and they have a very set way to when they put the manure on the fields. For instance, they plant the spring crop, disc it all in with the manure, and then the potatoes are planted later. And in the fall, they do it the opposite way. They put the spring or summer crop down first, and then the manure, and then dig the potatoes. So it's not blowing around in the wind. It is put right into the ground.
Thank you. Bill Clendenning.
I think it's a very simple answer. No, I'm not in favor of it, and I think it should be stopped. Thank you.
Thomas Heiser.
One of the things the county has to do is review their ordinances, see what type of equipment is out there, see what the new types of styles are of equipment, how this equipment is working, and check with other organizations, groups, and find out what the current process is and what can be done and how it can be done safely. That's the primary issue. Can it be done? Should it be done? And if it can be done and should be done, it should be done safely. So it has to be reviewed. Thank you.
Thank you. Bruce Dimick.
There's already been examples over on the CAFO in Armenia where people's houses have literally been sprayed by this kind of operation. And in fact, some people have been forced to move because of this thing. Right now in Kewaunee County, the DNR is pushing to try some grand experiment where they're going to allow a large CAFO over there to use this approach for spreading manure. The people are very much against it. There's all kinds of petitions against it. However, at this point, it looks like it's going to go forward. I'm a bicycle rider. I like to ride through the country, and on many occasions, I've been sprayed with irrigation water. Now, back before I knew that other chemicals other than water were in that irrigation water, on a hot day, I kind of enjoyed it. However, I think I will enjoy it significantly less if it's liquid manure. The same equipment that is used for irrigation will be used for spraying liquid manure. It might be different nozzles or something, but you're using basically the same systems, and I'm sure the same care will be taken when the wind blows, just like it isn't taken care of right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question will go to District 19 candidate Ruth Moody first. What is your view of the proposed CAFO in Saratoga? How do you see it impacting people in Saratoga, Wisconsin Rapids, Rome, and surrounding areas?
Well, we all have different opinions. My thing is, the trees are going to be cut. They're being cut right now. What happens to that land? The mill is not going to be replacing seedlings. They're done doing that. So what happens to that land if it sits vacant? I'm really not in favor of vacant land. We'll have dust storms again and whatever. I would like to see something planted, shrubs and trees and whatever, but as of now, it's just sitting there with not doing anything. So until that changes, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Thank you. Bill Clendenning.
I come from the area of irrigated potato fields, aerial application of pesticides and things like that. I lived on a corner of an irrigation field in Waushara County. And the main thing is water. If you ever went to the Plainfield truck stop in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, there was always a sign up there that says, pregnant women and children under 12, please do not drink the water. It's because it had nitrates in it, because it had pesticides in it. My well at my house was 183 feet to water, and I had nitrates in my water. They had to be filtered out, and some of them couldn't. So the main thing about the CAFO farms or anything about water usage in this area is, without the water being safe, you haven't got cows, you haven't got people. The biggest thing to watch out is for to have safe, clean water. If that can be done, which I doubt it can with the CAFO farm, then you probably will have it. But I don't think you'll ever be able to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Our question is, what is your view of the proposed CAFO in Saratoga, and how do you see it impacting Saratoga and the surrounding areas? Thomas Heiser.
I'm not going to make friends up here on this one. I'm taking a neutral stance on that issue. I'm not against it. I'm not for it. I've spoken to Wood County officials, and this is not an issue that will be coming before the county board for any action to grant or deny any permits to stop or begin the operation. I represent the citizens of Grand Rapids, and right now this issue, which is a major issue, is with the Saratoga Town Board and not the Wood County Board. Thank you.
Thank you. Bruce Dimmick.
If this CAFO were permitted in Saratoga, it would essentially devastate Saratoga. Already, property values have dropped significantly in the few houses that have sold over the last 2 years or year and a half since this CAFO was announced. And that problem will negatively impact the surrounding communities, including Grand Rapids. So that's a huge issue. Right now, we that live in Saratoga have some of the best water in the state. A lot of our water tested essentially 0% nitrates. And just based on what has happened in Armenia, and by the way, the CAFO that the Wasaki organization is planning to put in Saratoga is a mirror image of what they want, what they already have in Armenia. As was previously mentioned, the nitrate levels there are well above the 10 part per million EPA limit for nitrates. Now, if you have a small business in Saratoga and you're using well water, and there's various campgrounds, trailer parks, little bars and restaurants, if that water exceeds 10 parts per million of nitrate, you can't use the water. And by the way, their water is checked frequently. I think it's every 3 months. So this could be devastating to the small businesses that are in Saratoga. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill Lightman.
When this issue of a CAFO in Saratoga came up in June of 2012, it took me about 10 seconds to decide that it was a terrible idea. I've been against it ever since, joined the Protect Wood County group. That's grown into Rome, into Adams County. The difference between Armenia and Saratoga is the difference between a town of 350, 400 people and one of 5,300 people. 1,500 houses within a 3-mile radius of that CAFO. Looking at high capacity wells going down 130 feet deep, the first house we lived in Saratoga, we had a sand point, we were down 16 feet. We've got a drilled well now that's at 65 feet. Those high capacity wells start pulling water from 130 feet. We're all going to be putting in new wells at $7,000 a piece minimum. As far as the CAFO, I see deterioration of our roads from the heavy farm equipment that's hauling on them, the milk haulers. I see the loss of property values, the inability possibly of even selling your property, the noise of 24-hour operation, the lights on at the farm all hours of the day and night. even possible what I mentioned before, the out-migration of people leaving because they don't want to live in this area any longer. I'm very much against it. Always have been, always will be.
Thank you. Our next question will go to District 15 candidate Bill Clendenning. What are your views of having a permanent county administrator, either elected or not elected?
Well, that has been before our committee, and I was on the ad hoc committee for it, and we've had several meetings on it. We've looked at other counties and compared them with what we have now, and by a vote of the committee, I believe one member of the ad hoc committee voted to have a administrator, and we took it to the county board, and it was rejected to have a county administrator. What is my views on it? I think right now, the way we do it now is good, only because we have Lance Primmel in there, who does a great job. We have, since then, raised the salary of a person that is taking over the administrative coordinator position, basically, and that is the county board chair. So we are outlining right now, a job description for that, in which we will, it's an ongoing project and to keep it up. And I think there probably will come a day when we will need an administrative coordinator or not an exec. I'm not in favor of an exec at all. So right now it's a toss-up. I think the county board members with a administrative coordinator or a county exec kind of lose what they're elected to do. They have somebody else doing those things for them. And it, you know, that's kind of why I thought county board, when you get elected to the county board, you should do some homework yourself and not turn it over to an administrator. That's my feelings on it.
Thank you. Thomas Heiser.
I believe that when you use the word permanent, it's something that is forever. Right now, things are flowing fine. I noticed that, like Bill said, Mr. Plimmel is now got an increase in pay with extra duties. I believe that right now, the way the county board sits is appropriate. However, it's not something that should be put on a back burner and forgotten about. I think it's something that should be reviewed, whether it be 1 year or 2 years, and look at where we stand, what has changed. Is there more work that has come up because of the legislature putting more duties, responsibilities on the town board, or I should say the county board? Then the issue should be revisited, but not completely thrown out and forgotten about. Thank you.
Thank you. Bruce Dimmick.
I must say I pretty much agree with Mr. Clendenning's comments. I think, as most of you know, they are going to pay Lance Plimmel more than he was getting. When you see the amount of work that goes into being county chair, quite frankly, I don't think I would want to do all that work for $20,000 myself, but I'm glad he does. The nice thing about not having an executive and having the county chair assume these extra duties is that's an elected position. So he has to be responsive to his constituents. Once you have a salaried administrator of some sort in there, yeah, he could be fired if he really screwed up. But by and large, that person would be less responsive to what the voters want or need or ask for. So I like what they're doing. I can't disagree that maybe sometime in the future it should be looked at again. But right now, I think we're on the right track. Thank you.
Thank you. Our question is, what are your views of having a permanent county administrator, either elected or not elected? District 19, Bill Lightman.
I'm very much against a permanent county administrator. I'd never be in favor of something like that. I think to give an administrator a veto power, kind of, what are the other 19 people on the county board for? It just rubs me the wrong way, being the Democrat that I am. I researched this just before the forum this evening, and 60% of the county boards in the United States are commission boards, like our county board currently is. 40% have a county administrator with executive powers. I'm reminded of the people in Milwaukee County with Scott Walker as their administrator. That didn't turn out so good for them. I'm very much against that.
Thank you. Ruth Moody.
Yes. What do I think about it?
Yes, county administrator.
I'm against it because, first of all, the person probably would be elected and we wouldn't have a choice in the matter. And there's a big difference in what word you use here is executive or administrator. And ours works very fine. Of course, we have had a county chair before who would have been a nightmare if we'd have had to add him there now. So Lance is doing a wonderful job, and as long as he's willing to do that, I hope he stays.
Thank you. Our next question this evening, we will start with Thomas Heiser. With Wood County paying Wapaka County to house inmates, does Wood County need to build a new jail?
Thank you for that question. Currently, I'm a transportation officer for the Wood County Sheriff's Department. I'm one of the guys that goes back and forth quite often to Wapaka. I've spoken to Sheriff Reichert about this on several occasions, and right now, he is able to get the people housed in Wapaka at a lower cost than what it would be to house them here in Wood County. We talk about a separate new facility for housing people. The concern would be is they have the right to face their accuser. If you build this facility well away from the county courthouse, these people would now have to be transported back and forth every day for court appearances. There are some court appearances that can be done via remote locations. However, when it comes to a trial, the person has the right to be in the courtroom. This is something that's going to have to be looked at further down the road, but right now, according to Sheriff Reichert, he is able to house these individuals in Wapaka and transport them back and forth at a cheaper rate than what it would be to house them here in Wood County. Thank you.
Thank you. Bruce Dimmick.
I can't disagree with your analysis. I think that we would want to minimize costs here, but I have a further thought or concern, and that is what is the root cause of our jails overflowing? Well, I don't pretend to know. I would suspect that it has an awful lot to do with drugs and people that are in jail for either trafficking in drugs or drug users or whatever. Because apparently at one point we didn't have this overflow problem. So I think the community needs to take a hard look at why are these people in jail to start with. And there are, in various parts of the country, and I think including ours, where if it's a nonviolent offender, I wouldn't put them in jail. I'd do one of these other alternative things where they put a cuff around their leg and monitor it and so on and so forth. But I think maybe we need to look at trying to reduce the total jail population. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill Lightman.
I'm opposed to moving jail residents back and forth from county to county. I know it's worked sending them to Wapaka County for Sheriff Reichert, but I think our Sheriff's Department personnel should be here protecting public safety and not on the roads back and forth between Wapaka County and Wood County. Maybe with the new Justice Center built here, with the court and the jail being on the same property, maybe in the future this won't even be an issue.
Thank you. Ruth Moody. And I'll repeat the question. With
That's,
Wood,
that's all right. I think the way Sheriff Reichert is doing this now is saving the county money. They are being secure wherever they are, and I also agree with the drug problem. Um, every night when you pick up the paper and in between, that police officers know that what's going on. It is a terrible mess, and I would like to see the prisoners have more work projects, and if that's the only place to house them at a reasonable place, then I think we should take advantage of it.
thank you. Bill Clendenning.
Yes, thank you. Tom Heiser kind of hit it right on the spot. He's a person that transfers these people. We used to pay the deputies overtime to transport our prisoners back and forth. And Sheriff Reichert has changed that and hired forget what you call them, transport officers. And that's working really good. On the leg monitoring, that's working. We've increased that. Sheriff Reichert has. And another thing that was mentioned about loading up our jails. We have and the county board has authorized an extension of it, what we call a drugs court, and we're thinking of adding to that an alcohol court. And every Monday, I go to it once in a while, just to visit. But I go there and listen to it, and people graduate from these drug courts, and it's just amazing that they speak right to the judge, and the judge put them in jail for one day because they probably didn't do a drug test like they were supposed to or something like that. But that's helping cut that price down. I'm not in favor of a new jail. I am not. We had an opportunity with Portage County and Wood County to get together for a justice system, and that didn't pan out. So I'm not in favor. I like the way it is now.
Thank you. Our final question this evening before we move to closing statements, and we'll start with District 17 candidate Bruce Dimmick. Do you have concerns over the frac sand industry in Wood County? Is there a benefit of this industry to Wood County residents?
Well, I do have some concerns, and one concern I have is the frac sand bill that was proposed, but luckily did not pass in this last session of the legislature. And the issue I had with it was basically it was stripping all local control over frac sand mining or including health hazards, and so on. Basically, the local municipality couldn't do anything about it. Let's face it, it is an industry. Wisconsin is key to the frac sand industry, but again, I stress local control. So if a local municipality does not want a frac sand mine, or doesn't mind having one, but wants to impose certain laws and restrictions, like, don't run it all night, and don't build one close to a school playground or some other issue, I think that local municipality should make the rules for their own locale. Thank you.
Thank you. District 19 candidate Bill Lightman.
Frac sand, I think, has been more of an issue on the north end of the county than it is down here, although we certainly have our share of sand. The Highway H west of Marshfield. I see two issues here. The heavy hauling, the damage to the highways. I don't think in Southwood County there's an adequate rail system if you're going to be hauling frac sand anywhere in the United States. And then also the very fine dust that the workers would inhale. So you have to look at those issues and decide if it's going to work in your part of the county. I see it as a north end issue right now.
Thank you. Ruth Moody.
The same question. We have 84 non-metallic mine permits in Wood County. That's gravel, the sand. And up here at Rudolph, there's a non-metallic mine that mines very, very solid clay that they put in the bottom of pools and that sort of thing. So the 84 permits we have in Wood County right now.
Thank you. Bill Clendenning.
Yeah, getting back to the frac sand issue, Lance Primmel was, by the Wisconsin Counties Association, was appointed chairman of an ad hoc committee consisting of many of the counties' representatives that have frac sand hauling. And our county, along with Doug Pazanoff, who was our highway commissioner, actually was involved. We've had meetings up in Marshfield and around the state on this. And we have contracts with 5 of the people that are doing it in Wood County, in which they pay for the roads. So much the mining owner, the owners of the mine, pay so much a ton for put aside for road maintenance. And a study has been done of the roads before and the roads after. And I think it's worked out well that way. And then what Bruce talked about was the legislation to take away that control where counties couldn't make those. And it's a good thing it lost, really, or it didn't come forward. So I think counties should be able to have contracts, and towns and municipalities are the ones that should have control of their roads, in which we do right now. And that shouldn't be taken away from us. Thank you.
Thank you. Our question is about concerns about the frac sand industry, and is there a benefit to Wood County residents? And District 15, Thomas Heiser.
I have to concur with several of the other statements that have been made here. As you stated, that this is a North End issue. As you stated, Bill, it is something that the county has addressed through the highway department, and I think we have it under control at this time. I don't know if this is something that could be controlled better under zoning regulations, and we should have zoning in most of these smaller municipalities and townships. But we also have to remember, if this can be done safely and everything is followed, the rules and the regulations, we have some jobs. Thank you.
Thank you. It is now time for closing statements, and I would like to let our audience know and our viewing audience know our second portion of the forum will present the Town of Grand Rapids Board Supervisors. And you may start phoning in your questions to 421-8248. And now for our Wood County Board candidates, Bill Clendenning, running for District 15, will go first.
Thank you. There have been several issues that I have been instrumental in getting passed or changed on the county board. Through the efforts of our judicial and legislative committee, it has taken over the responsibility of county board rules and regulations. The legislative committee forwarded onto the county board a resolution to have all leases come before the county board. This was passed by a majority of the supervisors. I currently serve on the McMillan Memorial Library, and one of the accomplishments was the finishing of the Children's Library. For the last 12 years, I have done my best to represent my constituents with both honesty and integrity. I know many of you, either here this evening or listening at home, I would work hard to protect the health, welfare, and safety of my constituents. And by the way, my constituents on the county board are not just the constituents in Grand Rapids. We represent the entire county. And I want to continue to work for you in the months and years ahead. My years of experience should only be viewed as an attribute to allowing me to hit the road running, continuing to do the work you expect, and in a manner consistent with good governance and with a commitment to positive and sustaining change forward. In closing, I would like again to thank and extend my thanks to the League of Women Voters for this evening forum. I'm Bill Clendenning, and I ask for your vote on April 1st, April Fool's Day, for the position of District 15 County Board Supervisor.
Thank you. District 15 candidate Thomas Heiser.
Thank you. I'd again like to thank the League of Women Voters and River Cities Community Access for sponsoring and broadcasting this forum. As was stated in my opening statement, I have served you, the residents of Grand Rapids, for over 36 years. Police officer, police chief, and I continue serving you as a member of the Grand Rapids Fire Department. The majority of all these years were in leadership positions. I feel we need to keep your taxes down appropriately, and I'm not in favor of increasing your taxes. We need to minimize costs and maximize services that are provided to you. We have to increase developments and investments in both residential and commercial areas of Wood County. Please bear in mind, my primary focus will be to represent you, the citizens of the town of Grand Rapids, and it's your needs and concerns that I will concentrate on. Remember that I do not have a single issue agenda, but will look at all issues, of which there are many that are and yet to be addressed by the Wood County Board with an open mind and positive attitude. I will take the direction of the town board votes and decisions and considerations on similar Wood County issues. We need economic growth in this area. When you vote, please consider that there's a difference between the candidates. I do support the Regional Economic Growth Initiative, or REGI program, and a statement of theirs. The future of our community is at stake. Doing nothing is not an option. Recognize that my opponent was the only Wood County Board Supervisor who voted against supporting this program and philosophy at the July 16, 2013 County Board meeting. Wood County Board is an integral piece in growth in Wood County. Also know that I believe in the following statement. Those who take a leadership role need to have the courage to act and do the right thing for the greater good without worrying about what the critics and naysayers say. You have to go no further than your phone book, as that is where my phone number is listed. The election day is Tuesday, April 1st, 2014. Choose to exercise your constitutional right to vote, and I sincerely hope that you vote for Thomas Heiser for Wood County District 15 Supervisor on your ballot. Mr. Clendenning, thank you for your service and welcome home as a Vietnam veteran. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you to our two Wood County Board District Number 15 candidates, Bill Clendenning and Thomas Heiser. Next will be candidate Bruce Dimmick for Wood County District 17.
Again, I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for organizing and sponsoring this event. This forum is an excellent example of what democracy is all about. Our communities, our county, and our state face a number of serious issues. Over the last several years, I have immersed myself in a number of these issues at both the local and state level. I have demonstrated to the community that I will dig deeply into the issues and work diligently to protect and enhance our communities. As a member of the Wood County Board, I will be in a better position to carry on this work. While I have never run for or been elected to political office, I know it is time to stand up for our communities and our democracy. Elected office is a privilege, not a lifetime sinecure. It's time for a change in District 17. In conclusion, whether you prefer me or my opponent, please exercise your right to vote on Tuesday, April 1st. It is a civic duty that must be exercised in order to preserve and augment our democracy. Thank you.
Thank you. Bruce Dimmick will be facing Gary Allwarden, candidates for District 17 of the Wood County Board, and Gary Allwarden was unable to be here tonight. Our next candidate for closing statement is Bill Lightman, Supervisor District Number 19.
First of all, a big thank you to you, Karen, and to the League of Women Voters for allowing us to air our views. As I said in my opening statement, I taught civics in the public schools for 35 years, and I believe deeply that the source of all political power emanates from the people. In a representative democracy, and that's what we have here in the United States, those elected to serve must represent their constituents. Democracy works best that way. And so I was shocked when my opponent failed to recognize this, when meeting after meeting in the town of Saratoga failed to convince her what the people feared. Ignoring their nearly unanimous fears for their town, acting the parent and seeming to say, I know what's best for you. You need jobs and industry at whatever the cost. Well, I believe the county board members need to do the people's bidding, acknowledge their fears, help them. Now to the issues. From the outside looking in, here's what I see before the county board in the years to come. Space needs for both county officials and records at the county courthouse here in Rapids, the most acute needs being in health and human services and at the county jail. Those needs plus the needs for a fourth county judge and possibly a new justice center. Then there's the need in Marshfield for space again at the sheriff's department. Additionally, we've talked about frac sand this evening. There are certain discussions on a fourth Wisconsin River Bridge, which I don't think has been mentioned, and how that would be paid for. And then there's the usual budgetary discussions about how to cut the fiscal pie. Also the needs of the aged. To address these issues, I think the Wood County Board needs new blood, and so I say to the people of the 19th District, I'll do my best to represent your concerns if you'll give me your vote on April 1st. Thank you.
Thank you. District 19 candidate Ruth Moody.
Well, I can't disagree with anybody here. The opinion that I have been against or for one thing or another has been very, very widely discussed. There are 5,000 some people living in the town of Saratoga, and about 400 or 500 of them are been attending the town meetings and being very loud and vocal. There are things that are going on underground here that you don't seem to be listening to. For instance, the Wazakis, when and if they buy this property, will be taking water from the aquifer, which is 250, 300 feet down, known as Glacier Lake. And it is the only aquifer that we know of that is completely refilling itself all the time in Wisconsin. So the water is there, and it's not going to be surface water. It's going to come from 250, 300 feet down. And I've been informed on how they drill those wells and what they do with them. And this is Wisconsin's secret, is the water source that we have. It goes from Poinet to Lake Winnebago to Mead Wildlife Refuge and somewhere between Neilsville or Sparta. And they know now that part of that water level is over 1,000 feet deep. This is the part of the world that we are sitting on top of. I'm agreeing that what the Wazakis are doing, when and if they buy this property, we'll just have to wait and see what the water conditions happen to be.
Thank you. Thank you to our Wood County Board Supervisor District Number 19 candidates, Bill Lightman and Ruth Moody. In addition, on the April 1st ballot for District 1 of the Wood County Board, Thomas Binder and Jerry Nelson will be facing each other, and they were both unable to attend tonight. Thank you again, candidates. And we will take a short break and return with the Grand Rapids Board Supervisors candidates.
I have a question of you all while you're sitting here.